What's up, Cowboys Nation? Welcome back to another video. Be sure to hit that like button and subscribe. And here's a film breakdown of the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles. The Cowboys, as you know, beat them on Sunday Night Football in a primetime game, 33-13. And Dak Prescott strengthened his MVP discussion, rightfully so. And what I'm going to look at today is the drive right before the end of halftime. And I kid you not, man, I was hyped like a little kid cheering on the Dallas Cowboys all over again. A minute and 48 seconds, and I tweeted out, or I posted on X, and I'll show you the post right here. I said 1 minute 48 seconds. Too much time for number 4. And I feel like it's rare that a quarterback for your team will have you feeling that sort of confidence. And it's no surprise that Dak Prescott has all of Cowboys Nation feeling that way, because I saw that much time and I was like, man, this is just too much time for number 4. The season he's been having, he could put this game away, and he did. I believe that was the definitive drive of that game that essentially ended it, and they were able to extend it 24-6. But let's go ahead and jump on in, and let's take a look at the ins and outs and the intricacies of that. And once again, I am not a professional analyst. I am just a fan, just like you, loving the small parts of the game. Let's jump on in. So here we go. First play of this drive, a drive that was 8 plays and they went 50 yards. They got the ball at 1 minute and 48 seconds to go to halftime, and the total drive went 1 minute and 28 seconds. Let's take a look here, because your first play of the drive is always super important. Now, this is going to look nonchalant, right? Just a quick pass out to Tony Pollard. But this is really important here, and this reminds me of what Aaron Rodgers said a couple of years back. He says, when you're having those big drives, when you're having those big moments in those drives, it's always important that the first play of that drive be of some sort of positivity. It doesn't have to be a home run. I mean, granted, if it is, that's awesome. But I remember him saying, and that always stuck to me, when you're in these big drives, important drives, pivotal drives, that first play just needs to be positive, right? And so Dak Prescott, I'll stop it right here. We're going to take a look at the protection here, and I think this drive really helps the case for Dak Prescott in being the most valuable player, if not the best player in the NFL, because I don't think his offensive line was as good this drive, but Dak Prescott, being the great player that he has been this year, overcame that. But you can see he goes through his progressions, and this is a pretty good defense. I mean, don't get it twisted. The Philadelphia Eagles actually had a pretty solid defensive scheme all game long, and that's what gave the Cowboys some trouble. And I find it pretty funny how we're looking at this, and, a lot of us can admit, it wasn't the best offensive game for this offense. And that's really just funny, right? Because we're talking about a not-so-good effort, and we still put up 33 points and beat them 33-13. Look, y'all, this is an important play, and this was an important drive for Michael Gallup, because we know CeeDee Lamb is going, right? We know Brandon Cooks can get it going. We know Jake Ferguson is a really great weapon. But when all of the components and all of the ingredients of this Cowboys offense is clicking, they become a very hard team to beat, because now this drive puts it on film that, look, Michael Gallup, he's gaining confidence. And what did I tell you last week? And thank you so much for watching the film breakdown last week. I told you that Michael Gallup, yes, isn't really who he was a few seasons ago, pre-ACL injury. But I told you, don't count him out. He'll make a play. He'll still be available, and we can still count on him in some of those moments. In this drive, this is the drive of the game, and he showed up. Look at the separation he got on the bottom right-hand side, and Dak goes through his progressions pretty quick right here, and we'll see it on the other side of the view. But Michael Gallup, great route. Granted, Philadelphia Eagles secondary is not really that good, but he gets his separation, gets the catch 2 feet in. Shout out to vintage Michael Gallup. He needed this, right? And as we always do, we're unbiased and realistic, right? So we're just not going to show you all the highlights of this. This was a poor play by Terrence Steele. I mean, he got beat like he stole something, and Hassan Reddick got the sack here. I'm going to pause it right here. I told you guys in the pregame prediction, and thank you so much for watching that as well. I said one of the main things that this offensive line has to do, especially keen on the players, Terrence Steele has to have a better game than what he had in Philadelphia early in the season. Now, granted, when all was said and done, he actually did, right? And it's not that hard to not have a better game than he did, because it was easily the worst game of his career when they played down in Philadelphia. But this is one where he easily gets beat, and just be thankful that it didn't happen too much. But Dak Prescott can't really do too much, and this is what I mean here. This is just setting the plate here. This is one of the couple of plays on this drive that actually shows that the offensive line, this was not their best drive of the game, but they still managed to score because they have rained Dakota Prescott here. Terrence Steele just misses, and Hassan Reddick has an easy sack. Next play of the drive is really just another case for Dak Prescott in his MVP conversation. Really good defensive line play by the Philadelphia Eagles. But one of the things, right, when we talk about good things, good traits, good characteristics of a quarterback, obviously throwing the ball, smart decision making, but pocket presence. Pocket presence is a big thing, and I don't think I've ever seen Dak Prescott look so comfortable and confident in the pocket in terms of his presence. I mean, the line, again, got beat by the defensive line. The defensive line for the Eagles is creating pressure. You can see it right here, but Dak Prescott reads it, steps into the open space, finds his number one wide receiver, CeeDee Lamb, to complete the drive. And that's what you got to do as a quarterback. Not every play is going to be a home run. Not every play is going to be a touchdown. It's about adding up those small, important plays. And that's something that Dak Prescott is doing right now. And it's low-key, it's very underrated, and not a lot of people are talking about it. And that's why I wanted to make this video, because I felt like that drive was an accumulation. This drive was an accumulation of all those small little details that you're not going to necessarily see on a stat sheet. But Dak Prescott's doing it. And you'll look at the offensive line, right? They're overrun. They're to the right. You sit on this one-on-one with Tyron Smith in 94, which I believe is Montez Sweat. But Dak Prescott has open space right here. And usually, if you're not a good quarterback, you're going to roll to the right, or you're going to throw off of your back foot here. Good quarterbacks, confident quarterbacks, do this. They step up in the pocket, throws on the run, gives a good pass to CeeDee Lamb to move the chains. Next play, we have a third down, and Dak Prescott does an incredibly good job of going through his progressions. And also, this is a great play call by Mike McCarthy, great scheme, and great execution across the boards from the offense right here. You can see that CeeDee Lamb's going to come across here, and he brings everyone's attention over here. I mean, just looking pre-snap, and I've been talking to you guys about this, a lot of these plays happen pre-snap. You got Gallup here over by Slay. Unless Gallup is decisively winning that matchup from the get-go, if Dak is looking to the left, you're going to go to Gallup. But Slay, big play Slay, I'm not necessarily going to throw over because Gallup hasn't really been creating separation. He did earlier in this drive, but I'm not going there. But you'll see the intentional play concept here where CeeDee Lamb is going to bring everyone's attention over here to the middle. I mean, these three guys are basically going to follow CeeDee Lamb. And you're going to set up a one-on-one coverage with Brandon Cooks. And the Eagles secondary, like I said, he got beat earlier by Michael Gallup. And this is Mike McCarthy recognizing, okay, if you got beat by Michael Gallup, and I'm sure Mike McCarthy's not thinking this, but if you got beat by Gallup, who hasn't really been getting separation, I know a guy who can get separation, and that's my guy, Brandon Cooks. And Dak Prescott reads this perfectly, because you'll see CeeDee Lamb, like I said, he'll get the attention. Dak Prescott looks at him, and you'll notice when he turns his hips, when the safety turns his hips, Dak makes that millisecond decision, and he throws it up to Brandon Cooks. It's really, really great decision-making by Dak Prescott. See, the attention goes that way, and then one-on-one, Dak throws a high ball for Brandon Cooks to get it. Here's the other angle of it, and I'll pause it right here so you can see Dak Prescott looking. So snaps the ball. He's already looking, right? He's looking at CeeDee Lamb to see if 31 is going to read this, if he's going to go high or go low. And look at, he goes with him, so CeeDee Lamb's going to be coverage, and 31's going to have the high coverage on that. And then you'll see Dak's head turn to the right because he's looking at Brandon Cooks because he knows he has that one-on-one coverage. Head to the right, one-on-one, good ball, easy first down. Next up is the play of the drive, and this is MVP content right here. This is what I mean by saying that the offensive line did not have its strongest game, but thankfully for them and thankfully for Cowboys Nation and their fan base, we have the front runner for the MVP. This is how you know he's the most valuable player in the National Football League at this point, because for me, the MVP is a player that plays really good and gives your team the best chance every single Sunday, every single week, even when your weapons aren't there and even when your players aren't playing the best. Brock Purdy and Dak Prescott just showcases this in this moment right here, because you'll see Brandon Cooks come on the post. I mean, the throw is one thing, right? But this offensive line is battered down, and we'll see the other angle of just how poorly played that the offensive line had played on this play. And Dak Prescott just reads it, pressure in his face, about to take the hit. Brandon Cooks hasn't even made the cut yet, but Dak Prescott, so confident, he's going to fire this in between the cornerback and the safety for a great throw. And did I mention he's stressed and duressed under this play? What a MVP throw. Here's the other angle of it. I mean, this is just poorly played. Poorly executed by this offensive line. They did no favors for Dak Prescott on this play, which low-key worries me going into this final 4 games of the season. They just have to play better. But the Eagles really, like I said, they have one of the best defensive lines in football, and they really made this offensive line work. But you'll see here, Tyler Smith, they're going to go into a triple coverage right here, a triple team. Tyler Smith, Biotish, and Zach Martin, and they're going to leave Tony Pollard one-on-one with number 52, and you'll see TP20 completely whiff this block, and Dak Prescott has no choice but to fire this ball. But him being so confident, Dak completely nails the pass. Look at, you'll see, triple team, what are we doing here? And then TP20, boom, completely misses the block. I mean, everything is falling apart on this play. This could be a sack for a lot of quarterbacks. I mean, if you have a below average quarterback, this might be an interception because this is a rush throw. But Dak Prescott is making a case for MVP with this throw, and this was very impressive to see, because look at that. He's right there on his shoulder. He's about to take the hit, and Dak Prescott delivers this right in this seam right here for Brandon Cooks to take it to the 1 to set up the touchdown on the next play. So here's the second play at the goal line. The first play was obviously an incompletion, but man, Mike McCarthy, Brian Schottenheimer, y'all are in your bag with this one. This is a Mike McCarthy special that chef coach cooked up right here. You'll see it on the left-hand side. And again, this is just what happens when all your wide receivers are playing so well. And remember, every wide receiver has touched the ball at this point. Brandon Cooks had the big catch on 3rd down. CeeDee Lamb had another big catch. And Gallup had a big catch. I mean, when all the wide receivers and all your weapons are making this defense fear, this is what makes it difficult. And this is just pre-snap again. You got one-on-one coverage on the outside right here. The Eagles made it too easy right here. I mean, they're not helping their cornerbacks, and their secondary is the weakest part about this defense. And the defensive coordinator for Philadelphia is not doing them any favors right here and helping them out. I mean, what is this set? But you'll see this is a special from Mike McCarthy. You get the pick, and CeeDee Lamb, this is an underrated part about his game, but CeeDee Lamb is so good at this concept and setting the pick, timing it well. Such a true professional, and this play really works because of CeeDee Lamb. So shout out to Mike McCarthy and Brian Schottenheimer for having CeeDee Lamb involved in this. And then, of course, Michael Gallup completes the catch for an easy touchdown, and he's back in the end zone. And again, shout out to number 13, one of the highest graded players from Week 14. He came in at number 5. Great concept. I mean, Dak, it's predetermined. Dak knows it's coming, and this is a great route from Gallup. Great pick, great play by CeeDee Lamb, and just an easy touchdown. Doesn't get any easier than that. But man, like I said, I just really love this drive. If you look closer, there was a lot of details that made it tough for the Cowboys. I mean, this was not an easy drive, and especially the Eagles with some of their strengths with their defensive line. And a lot of the times their one-on-one matchups were winning in the trenches against our offensive line. And our offensive line during this drive looked a little bit confused, and there's a lot of pressure in Dak's face. But this is MVP content, like I keep saying here. This is a tape. You know, a lot of people are going to show you the tapes of him throwing touchdowns for fart. This is MVP play to me, because when your pieces and your offensive line and your players aren't really going your way, you still are leveraging and you're still leveraging your play, and you're leveraging your team, and you're making them better out there just by you being out there. And that's what this drive meant to me. Did I also mention it was with 1 minute and 48 seconds? I mean, this is the drive of the game. This is important because if you don't get points, you're letting the Eagles back into it because they're getting the ball in the second half. So for them to go 8 plays, 50 yards in 1 minute and 28 seconds and leave the Eagles with 20 seconds left in the first half, this is a great drive right here. This is what champions are made of here, this kind of drive. It looks messy. Sometimes it doesn't go your way, but they still found a way to get a touchdown. I'm super proud. This is awesome. I love this. This was a great drive, and this should be included when you're talking about the MVP for the National Football League. But be sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Go Cowboys.